Okay, so yeah, thank you everybody for participating in the Community Cat podcast and the conference. And we've been following Stacy for well over a year and a half, maybe close to 2 years now. We've got actually two of our outside salespeople are um, very big cat lovers and community cat lovers. Where, in fact, we have one that just moved here from Colorado to Southern California, who has done exactly what your community is so perfectly doing or trying to perfectly do around this country. And so she's either adopted a community cat that can't quite be domesticated for whatever reason, and she's also worked with cats, then brought them into her home, worked with them where they could then be adopted to forever homes. So what your family of community cat lovers is doing is near and dear to our hearts here at Pet Relief. So what we wanted to talk about today is how CBD, which a lot of us have now been hearing about constantly in the news. We're being bombarded with it. You know, I was in New York last week, and I think half the coffee shops were had a CBD booster that they would dump in your hot tea if you wanted. And so we wanted to be part of the conference to help our citizens that really are trying to possibly or would consider using a CBD type product for situations with our feline friends that really could use the products, but they should be using products that are made with love and done with the correct procedures, starting with the farming, then going through the extraction. How do you make an oil or something out of this plant that you can see on the screen? Very, very, very important. CBDs are not created equally, which we'll talk about. And in fact, in the feline community, which I want to go ahead and make this point loud and clear right here in the beginning, if a person happens to buy a polluted or a not well manufactured CBD product and gives it to a cat that either has too much chemical residuals from the processing or contains a dangerous level of THC for some reason, a cat will take up to four times the length of time to metabolize that THC out of her body than it would for a human for a proportionally equivalent amount. So if 10 milligrams of THC makes me get a little weird, let's say for a cat it's half a milligram or 1 milligram of THC, that cat will take 4 times the length of time to metabolize it out of her system. So we're not messing around here, guys, especially with a cat that's living in the community that we're looking to help. The last thing we want to do is hurt her and scare the bejesus out of her where it makes her life even worse. So I wanted to get that out in the open really quick. I guess that's the opening chapter of the book to make sure everyone kind of pays attention. So let's go ahead and run through it. I'll quickly tell you how we got started here at Pet Relief. This picture on the screen there is those are the three co-founders of Pet Relief. So that's my long-haired kind of hippier looking self there on the right. My co-founder, our CEO, we actually have a female CEO here at Pet Relief. That's Alina. So she's my life partner and our CEO. And then that's our daughter actually in the middle, Chelsea. So she's also one of our co-founders. And so we take very, very, very big, we take a lot of pride and a lot of humble pride, and we take a moral responsibility with protecting this, CBD industry, because there was one company before us, but we literally moved here to Colorado 7 years ago to start the business. The kind of joke that we make is we were the Beverly Hillbillies without the oil wells. We believed in this plant and what it could do if done properly as a therapeutic medicinal plant. So we moved here to Colorado to have people smarter than us around us to do it the right way. And since day one, we have done things differently still than any of the other CBD companies that have now popped up in the pet world. You probably saw on the first screen, we actually grow our own hemp with our farmer partners. We have our own Pet Releaf fields that are honestly certified USDA organic, which we'll talk about here in a few minutes. But we got started when we lost Maddie. We had so we're in Florida. We had a dog and a cat. We had Maddie there. You can see her, and we had Black Cat Shadow, which unfortunately we lost Shadow the day after Christmas, just last month. But our CBD literally extended her life probably 2 years and made it manageable, where she wasn't just, outright suffering in the end. So it was, as all of you know, heartbreaking. But Maddie there on the left was our inspiration, why we moved to Colorado, watching her suffer through the end with the pharmaceuticals that were on hand, that just doped her up. She was not present. So we moved here, and the company motto, the company mission, the company statement, the philosophy that drives everything we do is that we are on a mission to change what healthy means for pets. So that's the quick background of Pet Relief. We're not a CBD company that just showed up, that's buying, big bulk 50-gallon drums off some guy on the internet and then making products in her basement. There's unfortunately a flood of those people showing up on the marketplace. And I'll repeat, it is vastly, vastly important that any of you that are considering a hemp-derived CBD product for yourself personally, one of your family members, or one of your loved ones, or one of the community cats, you absolutely must be doing your homework and know exactly what it is that you're buying. Let's quickly talk the science. I won't bore everyone with the science lesson, but if anyone has any more detailed questions, I'm always happy to speak with people. Our team here, we consider them family, are also very well versed. We're known in the industry for being by far the most educated on the true science of a CBD product and what it can and can't do. So, high level, folks. CBD, the scientific name for the molecule is cannabidiol. That's one of over 100 cannabinoids that are in the cannabis plant. So, THC would be the other one that everybody is familiar with. All cannabis plants have both THC and CBD and all of those other 100 plus cannabinoids. The difference between marijuana and hemp is how much THC you find in such plant. They look very, very, very similar, as you saw those pictures earlier. The THC molecule is obviously the one that will get us stoned. I heard Stacy make a joke about it. Yep, we're here in Colorado. It's fully legal for adults and humans to partake of here as well, and we're supporters of that side of the cannabis world. However, for animals, for our feline and our canine companions and our equine companions, etc., THC is not something to play with. We're getting ready to embark on they're really clinical trials with one of the largest pet health groups in the world, but it's going to be extremely carefully designed, which that's another story for another day, of how to incorporate THC with like severe cancer, end of life, palliative care, pain type issues, rather than opiates. How can we incorporate a little bit of THC without getting the animal high, stoned? It's called static ataxia, but that's a story for another day. The products that we're talking about here that we would be discussing that Pet Relief makes, we do have THC in our plants that we grow. All hemp plants have some level of THC. Pet Relief's specific strain has half or a third, so way less than what would be considered the limit to be called marijuana. So we specifically collected feral hemp out in eastern Colorado, that we even dipped into Kansas and Oklahoma. Don't tell anybody in the authorities that you heard me say that, please. But we crossbred 3 of the strains because they had such low levels of THC, and that's our proprietary strain that we use. So that's the quick one of CBD. And now what does it do in the body? Everyone's like CBD this, CBD, CBD. Well, you must have the entire plant, including some small level of THC. If you have a product that you see that they say it's THC free, or it's 99% pure CBD or CBD isolate, first of all, those are going to be products that were made with heavy, heavy, heavy chemical processing. They use things like butane, yes, lighter fluid. They use acetone, fingernail polish remover. The #1 testing lab in the country. They actually do testing for JAMA and some of the other big medical associations in the Boston, Massachusetts area. They happen to also do cannabinoid testing for certain companies. They sent a warning letter out back in November, basically saying that, not basically, they've unequivocally stated that they are finding now on a daily basis these supposed pure CBD products that are CBD isolate, they call it 99% pure CBD. They'll call it THC free, whatever they want to use for a fancy marketing term. This testing lab on a daily basis is finding those products polluted with highly toxic levels for a human of paint thinner. Paint thinner. Why is that? Because 90%, over 90% of that stuff is coming in from China. So just like you've all heard with the opiate problem that now they're shipping in the fentanyl from China, it's the same thing with the CBD isolate, the THC-free CBD. It's not good stuff. But even if it wasn't that polluted and scary, the science is clear. You must have all of the parts of the plant to work together. It's called the entourage effect. So that's what you see here in the description. When a full spectrum CBD oil now comes into your body, any mammal can benefit from this. It basically helps your endocannabinoid system kick into 5th gear, or if your body's in 2nd gear, the cat's body's in 2nd gear, it will move it to 3rd or 4th gear. The United States National Institutes of Health, I'll just give you a couple quick examples of what it's going to do, big picture. So our own United States National Institutes of Health wrote patents on this. One of the 3 scientists that wrote this patent won the Nobel Prize for Medicine back in the early 70s. So you're talking one of the smartest scientists on the planet that wrote this on behalf of our government, that described the full spectrum effects within our bodies, CBD being the molecule that gets the most of the press, but you have to have the entire plant to get what I'm going to tell you right here. They said it is the most potent, one of the absolute most potent anti-inflammatories that they had ever seen, either man-made or naturally occurring. So far more anti-inflammatory properties than blueberries and things like that, or any of the pharmaceutical drugs that are out there on the market. So that's the anti-inflammatory. They also described it as essentially a turbo boost to our immune systems. So that's another huge benefit, why we always tell people, even if your cat or your dog or you personally, you feel like you're in great shape, hey, I'm healthy, I don't need this CBD stuff. Well, I'm sure you'd rather not wait. You'd rather not wait until there is a severe hip arthritis issue with one of your cats, one of your loved ones. Why wait until that happens? Why don't you stop that inflammatory process before it even becomes a volcano in the hip area? So that's why we look at it as a daily use. We all use our personal Pet Relief products every single day. I think every single one of the Pet Relief team uses it every day, our personal stuff. So the third thing that those scientists said was that it is a neuroprotectant. So literally, and this is the scientist talking, this is not Steve at Pet Relief talking, they literally described that the full spectrum CBD oils, hemp oils, when used regularly, literally slowed the aging process in the brain. I'm going to tell you personal experience. We saw that with Shadow, our wonderful black cat that just passed away right there the day after Christmas. So it's amazing when it's done the right way. So what can it help with? Here are the main areas that we have seen absolutely the highest rates of success. Pain management being when you're, and this is when you're, let's, quote unquote, dealing with an issue, everyone. Again, we recommend you use it daily because all mammals really should be taking cannabinoids on a daily basis. It was in our mother's breast milk, including cats. Cats produce cannabinoids inside their bodies on their own, as do humans. All mammals produce cannabinoids inside our bodies on a daily basis. We just don't produce enough. Again, we receive lots of them through our mother's milk, which that's one of with the scientists that are really studying this, they're saying that those are the basic building blocks that help grow the immune system when we're little babies, still on the teat. So that is of extreme importance. But when we are starting to deal with something, here are the biggest areas of success. Again, pain management. The number one area probably that we should be talking about today is the anxiety issue. We call it situational anxiety because it is completely unfair to try and talk about these products as a magic potion cure-all. I don't want to have anyone that's on this webinar think that they can just give CBD to any situation, and the cat that is the community cat that's going through severe anxiety, that's just losing her mind because we're trying to domesticate and bring it into a forever home. That is not the case. This is not 100% at all, folks, but you do have a very, very good chance of success of either reducing that anxiety. Maybe we get rid of all of it. But again, I just want to be clear. We don't want to give false hope here. It's not fair. But the beauty of the products that we make at Pet Relief is it is impossible to overdose. Impossible to overdose. And it is also impossible unless you gave a cat 15 bottles of our oil in a 2-minute period. You probably still would have almost impossibility to get a cat a THC reaction because we have such low amounts. But again, you must have some THC or you won't see these benefits. So we just have it in very, 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 in fact, when we do our testing in our COAs, it's undetectable because there are such low amounts. That big testing lab in Boston, in the Massachusetts area that we just spoke about, they have next level scientific equipment. So they detect the THC on the COAs. And by COA, we mean they're certificates of analysis. That's where a third party laboratory comes in and tests your products. So here are the main issues where we see very, very, very good results. In fact, we just completed we can't call it a clinical study, everybody, but it was an observational study that we did with Tokyo University in Japan. So I think that's one of the things that probably establishes Pet Relief as one of the truly credible and honest companies, is we actually have, we're participating with these levels of people. So Tokyo University, the people at Tokyo University, they just did a study with our products. They did not have a significant number of felines. They had probably 65, let's call it 2/3 were canines, the rest were felines. But anxiety was actually a higher success rate than the anxiety in the dog population. I have no idea, and the scientists there could not tell you exactly why we saw higher rates of success with controlling anxiety in the cats. And again, it wasn't a giant population, but we did see that in this initial small study. So now with this larger company that's one of the biggest pet healthcare companies in the world, they're looking to do a larger population, etc. So stay tuned on that. Stacy, next year, hopefully we'll have some really good results to report from that study. So let's quickly talk. We talked a little bit about that. I don't know if you guys can see it on the screen, but if you look in the top left corner, if you look on that leaf, you see a ladybug. You probably can see it. So this is one of the cool things that CSU, Colorado State University, has been coming out to our fields. They have found two species of ladybugs on our hemp that they thought were extinct here in Colorado. So I can't take credit for that with our hemp, specifically, but hemp in general in that part of Colorado. CSU and the farmers around there are so happy because the bee populations are also coming back. They're not as threatened here as they are in some parts of the country, but because of the lack of variety of things to collect pollen, etc., they were under threat to a somewhat of a degree. So the hemp, they're seeing really strong improvements in the bee populations in our part of Colorado where we have our hemp farms. So we couldn't be happier with what we're doing. And it all starts with being USDA organic, guys. We are the only pet company that can legally state organic. There's a lot of competition out there, but since there's essentially zero regulation, all our people that are now the new entrants to the space, the people that they think there's a quick buck here or whatever, they're all claiming organic. But you can see our field there with the USDA organic sign. That is of extreme importance, guys. And the reason, I won't go into all the not boring, but all the specifics, but hemp is what's called a bioaccumulator. So anything in that soil that was so if you had a cornfield that had been there for 15 years, you may not be spraying things on your hemp, but all that Roundup, all those other chemical-based fertilizers, there are all those chemicals in the residual Roundup, which lasts for like 500 years in the soil. If you read any of the stuff that Monsanto is trying to kind of keep under the wraps, that all goes up into those hemp plants. So we have certified USDA organic fields, and then we also are certified USDA organic because we farm USDA organically, which for us means our plants only get sunlight, groundwater, like spring water, basically, it's groundwater. And then the only thing that we're allowed to use as fertilizer is, if any of you are familiar with the Horizon Dairy, the organic milk that's in Whole Foods and supermarkets around the country, a lot of those dairies are near our hemp farms, our main hemp farm. And so we use the organic cow manure from the Horizon Dairy. We till it into our fields after we harvest. So like at the end of harvest this year, we tilled our fields with the organic Horizon Dairy Girls manure. That's the only fertilizer we're allowed to use. Again, of extreme importance that if somebody's claiming organic, they need to prove it to you, because otherwise those hemp plants, they're sucking anything and everything up out of the soil. And in fact, the hemp that's grown in China that they use to then make that nasty isolate that we talked about, that almost entirely is being grown in what's called phytoremediation projects, where hemp is being planted to suck the toxins and the heavy metals out of fields in China so that they can convert them to farming or housing or something like that. So you can read the other parts of that there. So we grow our own hemp with our farmers. We don't just buy random products off somebody and put our label on it. Again, very, very, very important when you're talking about trying to really help some at-risk felines. I mean, we think every single person should be asking these questions anyway, whether it's for them or loved one, but it's of even more importance when you're really trying to help an individual that is, already in a very stressful situation. So there's a little bit about our hemp, which we've already talked about. And we'll move on to the next one. So quickly, we'll talk about our process of how kind of we do things. So that's one of our products. That's our newest product that we've been working on for well over 2 years. And we'll talk about that just quickly in a moment. So from seed to sale, from plant to pet, you can see up at the top, I think it might be a little cut off. That's our trademarked, it's a trademark of our company. It's our one of our other mottos. And what does that mean? That means we control everything from when it's a seed, and we do plant from the seed, all the way until it is offered to our pet companions. So we don't own the farms, but we have the farming contracts. We work with the farmers directly. So they are they're our fields, as we said. We partner with the extraction facility. And then we do all of the baking and everything right here in my offices, warehouses, where I am right now here we're just south of Denver is where we're based, is call it our headquarters, whatever you want to call it. So again, the reason that is so important is, as I mentioned earlier, there are so many people that are cutting corners to try to get into the CBD market, or they're just buying private label products that they may not even know. They may have the best intentions in the world. They just don't have the, we moved here and started from zero and made all these connections and put all these things in place. I understand not everyone can do that. We don't have some big company backing us. We don't have some big, huge private equity firm with millions and millions of dollars. We did this on our own from zero. And, so if someone wants to absolutely do things the right way, there's a way to do it. It takes time, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, but we are so passionate about doing it the right way. And we expect anyone that's going to try and do these products that they should be held to the same standard. One of the big human companies, and I won't do all these scare tactics all day, but I'll just give you another quick example. One of the big human companies just got in trouble. A university went and tested their products and found extreme high levels. They didn't have any CBD to be found in their products. They found the derivatives of, if any of you have read any of the news, in Florida, this was a big problem. It's this fake marijuana stuff called spice. Some people call it K2. They were using that to make their supposed CBD products, and then they would dump a bunch of melatonin in there, and that was what they were selling as CBD products. So again, it is worse than the Wild West. So just be aware of what, where you're getting your products. So for our specific products, and when you're thinking like, okay, how do I do this? What do I need to be doing? What should I be looking for? You have two big choices right now as far as our product lines. So the first one would be this, you see here, we call it the Hemp Oil 330. This is our lowest dose of our hemp oil. This is really great for cats. The benefits of this, if you can give it sublingually, which means directly into the cat's mouth, it is a glass dropper, and I fully understand that cats they have their own personalities. They're not always going to let you, offer it to them directly into the mouth. But if you can use this product and put it into the cat's mouth, again, sublingually, you have the highest rates of absorption, and we've done blood serum testing. You also have the highest rates of actual CBD and the other cannabinoids in the bloodstream of the cat, which obviously means you get the highest rates of efficacy. But again, you have to be able to put that, half drop or however much directly into the cat's mouth, which again, especially with some of our community cats, is essentially impossible. So here's some of the usage instructions, which this is also on the website, so I won't bother just, reading line by line, but you can see, for cats, if it's a smaller cat, about, full dropper per day, and then 1.5. So a bottle has 30 to 35 1 ounce, which is a full dropper. And and so that would be, and then you want to split it up. If you see on the bottom there, it says all recommended use split between AM and PM. The reason that is important is because CBD has approximately a 9-hour half-life. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with what that means, but layman's terms, it means if you give the cat the recommended amount in the morning, it wears itself off by the afternoon. Just like with a Tylenol, you can't just take one at 8 a.m. If you have headaches or whatever, you got to take some again later in the day. Same thought process. So for our community cats and the more finicky cat friends of ours, this is the product that I would strongly recommend, especially because it's mixed with the wild Alaskan salmon oil. And again, that's one that, that took like 9 months for us to find an honestly wild Alaskan salmon oil. That was kind of an eye opener for us. Of people could put, I think it was like 52% Alaskan salmon oil, and then they could put whatever they wanted in the rest. It would still have to be fish oil, but they would be able to call it wild Alaskan salmon oil. So we have an honest 100% wild Alaskan salmon oil. And I think there's a picture of it on the next slides. You can see the color. I mean, the proof's in the pudding, right, guys? So the reason I say this would be the one that would be the best for the community cats or the more finicky ones would be, this is meant to be mixed with food. Okay, so the liposomes you want to mix with the food. What are liposomes? I'll quickly give a description of that. Liposomes are essentially a protective barrier. It's a process that we have a wonderful partner that's got some patents that are in the process of going through on liposomal technology. They've been around since the late 60s, early 70s. It's completely approved, safe, 100% approved and safe by the FDA. Liposomes are a series of lipids, which are fats. We mix our existing hemp oil, the stuff from 2 screens before, minus the coconut oil. So the pure raw CBD oil, you put it in the vessel with the lipids. We go through a few processes. The lipids all basically, they're attracted to each other and they surround the cannabinoid molecules. So picture a peanut M&M. The lipids become that outer shell of the peanut M&M, and then the CBD is the peanut in the middle. Why is that important? Because then when the cat ingests it with the food, the sacrificial layer of those lipids, which by the way, ours are extremely healthy also for cats, like sunflower lecithin is extremely good for cats. Just one to name, just to name one of them. So that sacrificial layer gets digested. Then the CBD and the other cannabinoids make it down into the GI tract, and therefore it's uptaken into the bloodstream, and therefore the cats can use it. So the other benefit is you can use much less of the liposomes. So if you look over there on the right, you can see the picture. Now picture that salmon oil is, you know, I'm sure many of you are aware, is not some hot, bright pink color when it's a true salmon oil. It does have a pinkish color, but just like if you get wild salmon versus the farm-raised salmon is injected with food coloring in the food. That's why it has such a pink look to it. So I'm sure you guys are familiar with that. But so this here's the product that would be wonderful to assist with our community cats. So here's what we call the 5 questions. I know we've kind of hit on some of this already, so I won't go through all the details on all of them. But again, you know, where's the hemp grown? There's so much of this product that's now coming in from countries that have some dubious farming methods. A lot of people are claiming, oh, we get ours from Colorado. We get ours from Colorado. The Colorado Department of Agriculture's report of how many acres were farmed in Colorado last year, they even came out and they said, if every one of these companies honestly were growing in Colorado, we would have had probably 25 times the amount of acreage. So fancy words in marketing are great, but you know, you guys, it's important with our cause here. Just make them prove it to you. Same thing goes for the organic certifications. Extraction methods, I won't go too much into detail on that other than to just give you a quick bullet point. We use what is called CO2 extraction, supercritical CO2 extraction. We take our hemp, pressurize it at extreme low temperatures. We basically force freeze all the cannabinoids out of the plant. It's not cold pressed. There's no such thing as cold pressing in the cannabis world. You can't take a flower and cold press a flower. Well, you can, but you'll get like 1/1,000,000th of the oils out of the plant. You have to extract it either using what we do, which is CO2, extremely expensive equipment. You have to have very technically proficient people to run this equipment. It is absolutely the most pure way because you're not soaking the plants in chemicals. That's the go-to way, which 99, I don't know. I don't want to say, but the vast majority of people in CBD world are using hydrocarbons to literally leach the oils out of the plant. So they're using industrial grade ethanol, butane, acetone, pentane, things like that. and they soak the plant in it, and then they do a heat thing to basically hope to evaporate the ethanol or the butane with heat. But 100% of the time, when you do those initial extractions with those chemicals, you're going to have some of those chemicals in the final product. I don't know if any of you saw the headlines or some of the headlines on CNN Health. All of the main heart medications, there's a huge recall because the company that makes them has been leaving residual solvents that are carcinogenic. And those are ones that the FDA is testing constantly. So again, the FDA, nobody's testing these CBD products. They're saying, just trust me, mine's clean. So just be careful, guys, of anything you're looking at in CBD world. And that comes to that testing right there. We recommend that there's true, honest third-party testing, and that it's done constantly and regularly, which is how we do things. And then the isolate we've already talked about. Isolate's just not good stuff, and it doesn't work. The science is clear. If you only have CBD by itself, you have 5 to 10% the efficacy. 5 to 10% of the efficacy with a CBD isolate versus using the whole plant. So even if you had a organic, clean, perfectly made CBD isolate, you have extremely low efficacy versus the whole plant. So here's some FAQs, which some of you may ask some of these questions, but we'll just, you can see here quickly. We talked about that. If you have a clean, there is, according to the US NIH, there is no LD50 with a proper full spectrum hemp oil. LD50 means a toxic level, which will basically kill the organism ingesting it. So with our product, it's impossible to overdose. The contraindications is the next one. There are no known or documented contraindications. Again, if you have a full spectrum hemp oil product, back to that CBD isolate stuff, guys, the GW Pharma patents that they just gave on essentially a CBD isolate product for children, human children with two different forms of severe epilepsy. They noted that there were some severe contraindications with a pure CBD molecule when you got to higher doses because it overloaded the enzyme in the liver, cytochrome P450, and the other medications. Back to the human world, I'll give you an example, the blood thinner warfarin, for example. They have noticed or documented in the science community that people taking higher doses of CBD isolate, it was showing severe contraindications with warfarin and then multiple other drugs. So there's another reason to stay the hell away from isolate. But with a full spectrum hemp oil, there are no known contraindications. Again, we're not telling people, we're not playing doctor here at Pet Relief. Always check with your own doctors, have blood work done for you or the animal to be absolutely sure nothing goes weird. But there have not been any documented ones, is what we're going to say. With our products, if one of your human children get a hold of it, don't call poison control, don't pump their stomach. They're not going to get stoned. In fact, they're going to be healthier. There is nothing wrong with a 10-year-old child taking our products. You can't get stoned, and it's going to help with their immune system, the anti-inflammatory issues. If they're drinking Cokes and eating potato chips, it's going to help them. So there's those questions. Won't get your pet high, we talked. You do not need a prescription for Pet Relief products. It is now, due to the Farm Bill, completely legal in all 50 states. That doesn't mean all 50 states will allow any place to sell it. That is far from the truth, but it is legal for interstate and intrastate commerce. So we are 100% legally permitted to ship to any household in any of the 50 states. The states reserve the right, just like with gun laws or abortion rights, states can have reasonable restrictions on US hemp-based CBD products, but they can't outlaw it outright. So like you have dry counties still in North Carolina, or you can only buy liquor at a state liquor store. I think Pennsylvania still has the same thing too. But, so they can do things like that, guys, is what I'm saying with legality question, which is also part of that next one. And the reason I know that unequivocally, guys, is I'm on the board of directors for the United States Hemp Roundtable. Our attorneys, we gave the bullet points, and then our attorneys worked with Senator Mitch McConnell's office to actually write the 2018 hemp bill. And then now our same group, we're the ones tasked with working with the USDA. So Secretary of Agriculture Sonny Perdue's already been in touch with our group. We're actually going to help write the laws and the regulations of how hemp farming is going to be regulated, the hemp derivative products, how they can legally be manufactured, safety rules, et cetera, et cetera. So the wild, wild west of CBD, it's unfortunately still going to be around probably for most of 2019, but the hammer is going to come down on a lot of these, dubious products. So, the next one, we talked dosages. We have recommended usage amounts in all our products, and we talked about healthy pets needing CBD. So that's the quick run through, Stacy, and then I'd be, happy to answer any questions at all. Hopefully, I didn't talk too fast and blow through, but thank you everybody for listening.
No, it's great. I definitely already have questions. So hopefully we can get through everybody here. Question, is there any benefit using CBD for cats with asthma?
That is a great question. We've actually had that question a lot, and I'm going to tell you the scientific clinical level studies that I have reviewed, and I'm not a doctor and MD. I was a CPA, so I know how to at least read through things, but we have two of the most respected and most well-known holistic vets that work. They don't work for us because they have their own big bustling practices, but they are our they help guide all of our scientific approaches to things, etc. So they've also helped me look at multiple conditions and things that we've mass look into. Asthma has actually been one of the big ones. We have not found a study that we trust, as they will describe it. There's been a couple small studies that claim to say that a full spectrum CBD oil will help with asthma, but I will not sit here today and give you an affirmative yes or no. It's not going to hurt, but there's not science to allow me to say yes, it's going to help.
I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this correctly. Are you familiar with Copaiba?
Copaiba.
Copaiba essential oil, which has been compared to CBD with 0 THC. If so, how would you compare the Copaiba with your low THC CBD?
So we actually are looking to include, if you look at my Can of Care, which is right there in the center, which won product of the year for from Pet Business Magazine last year. We won product of the year for that Can of Care right there. That's the one that I will honestly say that that stuff is magic. So it has Copaiba oil in it, and that's probably the reason why your guest is asking. Copaiba oil absolutely has amazing health benefits. We've been hearing, and I don't want to sound like rude because I honestly haven't done like tons and tons and tons of the medical and clinical study reading myself. I've read some of it. My two veterinarians are saying absolutely wonderful, but it's not the level of a full spectrum hemp oil. So again, that's not to say Copaiba is absolutely an amazing thing for us in our animal companions, which is why we have it in our Can of Care. But it's not going to hit the same number of bonus buttons inside our bodies as the full spectrum hemp oil.
What does a THC reaction look like in a cat or dog?
Okay, so static ataxia, the early kind of like, let's call it, picture yourself if you've had like a glass and a half of wine, you're feeling a little bit woozy. Okay, then you go to two, and and then you're slurring your speech. So it's the same thing. It's not a one symptom shows everything. If it's a lower bad reaction level, you'll see them be a little woozy on their feet. They may start showing a little bit of signs of kind of their head popping back and forth, kind of like not seeing things, but almost like that's what it appears to you, maybe. That would be kind of as it got a little bit more stressful for them. Then as it increases, it becomes a clear low anxiety event where you can see they just can't get settled. They start showing extreme nervousness, and then it gets to full-blown high anxiety where you can see they're just losing it to the point where they are having full psychosis. And unfortunately, especially in the marijuana states, you're seeing more of those cases going around because people are either leaving things out, and mostly it's dogs, because dogs are, we all know retrievers and breeds like that they'll eat anything and everything that the owner leaves out. So the owner leaves the chocolate bar sitting there on the kitchen counter. The dog eats it, and it's not good. The worst case we've personally seen at our company was a person. The lady is an RN that works 12-hour shifts. Her service animal can't come to the I can't say where the facility, because it's basically an ICU type thing in the human world. So she obviously can't take her dog with her to that place. So had always been using our products. The local pet store there in her town had run out. The clerk there said, "Oh no, use this one. It's the same. CBD is the same." Well, it was one of these products that claimed to, have low levels of THC. The dog went through the second story window, broke both front legs. That's that's obviously an extreme example of like severe freak out. Let's tend to use layman's terms. Now, the physical symptoms, the heart rate will jump and then it will drop. So the blood pressure is going skyrocketing, then it'll kind of drop, then it'll skyrocket again. And the same with the body temperature. It will have wild swings as well. We haven't had any third-party proven documented complete overdoses with a THC product yet, thank God. But it is not funny. Dogs and cats do not like being stoned. I don't care what the 22-year-old stoners, "Oh, my dog likes being stoned." No, he doesn't. Did he gain a voice last time you were wasted and tell you that? Not to be on a soapbox, but we just, it unfortunately, it's fine. If people want to use it recreationally on their side, great. And again, for some cancers and some severe end of life, palliative, like crazy, 8, 9, 10 level pain, maybe there are cases again where that's why we're doing the studies we're doing, where having some higher levels of THC will be appropriate. But no way should it ever be done just in a, generic products or something like that.
Is your product safe to give to a nursing mama cat, perhaps to help with maternal aggression?
Absolutely. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to cure that maternal aggression, because that tends to be instinctual. And we always kind of try to share that information and caution people. I'll give we have a Chihuahua mix that comes to the office here every day. And she goes from level 10. She's never bitten anybody, but if the UPS guy shows up at 9 before she's had her 10 etabytes, she's got "I'm going to chew your face off" bark going. Once she's had 8, 10 etabytes, she's still barking, but it's just it's level 4, level 3. So you're not going to absolutely cure the instinct of that, but you could definitely have a very, very good chance of bringing it down. And to be clear, yes, you can safely give our products to a nursing mother, again, because we don't use any chemicals in our growing or in our extraction. So you're not going to inadvertently be, having 800 parts per million of butane in the product. So with ours, I would answer, is the way I answer that question.
What brand of MCT do you use?
Well, I can't share that because that, I got to tell you, was holy cow, difficult to find. When we could find it bulk, it's and it's not cheap. So I'm sure whoever's asking that question is probably why they're asking that, because I actually went to the Philippines 4 or 5 years ago now. We're kind of obsessed with some of this stuff, I guess. But I'm like, there's no way USDA organic is in the Philippines. But dadgummit, if it wasn't true, and I mean, they had, a US person at the embassy like verified stuff for us. But they have a zone that's designated organic in the Philippines. Anyway, so our banana, coconut oil, all that's actually from the Philippines, but it is USDA organic in the Philippines.
That is, oh, here we go. Got a few more. Do you only do pet products?
Yes, we are not a human company that's throwing a label on and saying, "Oh, here now it's for pets." We focus 100% on our pet companions. Our Etta Bits, which you see on the screen here, the Etta Bites, those are all for canines. Our Etta Bits in 2 flavors are going to be our like official launch is at Global Pet Expo in March in Orlando. So those will be available by the end of March. You'll see them on the website and then in all of your independent local pet stores.
Excellent. I think I've covered most of the questions. I see Hayden is still out there. Hayden, I'm going to turn your mic on. Somebody sent a question in for you. Hayden, are you out there? Hayden, are you listening, or are you just still sort of on? All right, I was just going to see if I could catch her because there was one question for her, but if she's not out there, that's okay. Let me see. Whoop. Nope, I think we've got everything covered here. Steve, thanks so much. This was great.
Yes,
Excellent,
thank
excellent
you.
details. And if folks want to reach out to your team, it's petrelief.com.
Yes, and remember to spell it like leaf on a tree.
Like leaf on a tree. My sympathies with regards to your passing of Shadow.
Yeah.
I'm dreading the day that is going to come probably pretty soon for my cat Misha, who has oral cancer. So
Oh man.
as so anyway, but she's hanging in there right now, and we do the best we can, and that's what we do for all of our pets.
Yeah, well, thank you, Stacy. I mean, we really appreciate what you're trying to do and helping make the world a little bit better place, right?
That's right.